Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Google Workspace Recap, a Tab Geeks Network show. Each week we take you through everything announced by Google Workspace, discussing the updates of the week and other relevant news and announcements. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you keep up. Since you won't be hearing this episode until after the event, we hope you enjoyed our Chrome browser and Managed Browser quarterly update live show this morning. Well, for us it's tomorrow morning, but release, edit, schedule, whatever. If you missed it, you can still see it on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/tabgeeks, as well as a link in our show notes and on our website. Big accomplishment for us, our YouTube channel, which was brand new only a couple of months ago, has officially passed 200 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please head over and check it out. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues. Let's keep the growth going. Very exciting. It's a great momentum. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far and is along for the ride. We look forward to bringing you lots more entertaining stuff, not only about Google, but about other IT topics in general. Also, Steve, I have to apologize for laughing at you. You said a couple of days ago, last week, that you were getting snow, and it was literally 100 degrees out here in California. So I couldn't help myself. I just cracked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we were talking like 2-3 days
crazy.
ago, and it was snowing here. There was ice everywhere.
It's nuts.
Snow was sticking around for about a day, and it was 100 degrees by you. So
it's absolutely insane. 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Weird. That's the weather for you. We got a short show this week, but not so short because we got a lot of other topics, but not so many Google topics.
Yeah, we just have two updates that came out this week, and those updates are pretty boring, I guess. not too exciting. We've got new emoji reactions in Google Docs on the web, and then we have additional improvements for Google Meet. That's all they said in the title. So, yeah. Really exciting week for updates. But, looking at the visible changes document, so for those of you that have access to it, there's a lot that should be coming this week. So in the next episode, hopefully we can talk about a lot more things and quite a few things that are interesting. We did catch a little sneak peek, though, of some other updates that are coming. There's some notification alerts happening in Google Docs that will allow you to get notified when other people in your org make edits to a file. So that will be showing up soon in the top right corner of a document, just to the right of where you see the activity dashboard and the comment icon, if you have that, or just to the left of the present this tab on call or share icon, so kind of just in that top right corner of a doc. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully it'll be going out to some more domains soon. I think it's just been shared with a few random domains, it looks like, but we've heard some reports of people getting access to it. And then what else do we have? We had some improved admin experience for moving folders from My Drive to shared drives. That is something that was announced in beta, and I have a feeling that is going to be released very soon. So stay tuned for that one as well. And then we have quite a few other topics of things that have been happening in the news. There are some C2C events happening in person out in California in the coming weeks, actually. 3 days in a row, 3 different cities. Pretty exciting there. And there are some updates to the GSuite Legacy free
saga.
Kind of saga. Yes, there you go. Good way to put it. Yeah, so we had some things showing up in the admin console since last week's episode, since last week's recording. And there's some questions we have had from the audience as well around how Cloud Identity can be a good replacement if it doesn't have full drive access. And also, someone is also wondering if there is a place to compare the features of GSuite Legacy to a, let's say, Workspace Starter license, I presume, or some of the other Workspace licenses. So we will talk about that, where you can find it, or where you can't find it and where you might soon find it. So stay tuned. And I'll jump into these 2 updates here real quick, and then Jesse can kind of take over some of those other updates, and I'll help answer some of those questions that we had from our audience. So more emoji updates. I feel like this is the most updated product from Google right now is emojis.
Emojis everywhere.
Every couple of weeks there's new updates on emojis, and more of them coming. So some updates here happening to the emoji reactions in Google Docs on the web. I think this is the emoji set being updated to Emoji 14.0, and I think it probably was 13.0 last time we talked about this. But some of these updates sound very familiar from previous updates where there's gender-neutral options for gender-modified emojis, and emoji skin tone and gender preferences are saved per individual emoji. And this is just kind of an end-user facing update here. So it'll be on by default and cannot be disabled by the user. It's coming to all of our environments and all SKUs. And then rollout-wise, rapid release domains will start getting this on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility, starting on the 5th of April. Scheduled release domains, we'll see this starting on the 20th of April, and then also on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility there on that one. And then next and finally, for last week's updates, we have the additional improvements for Google Meet. So 2 very quick things is that there are now prompts to exit meetings when you're the only user in a meeting, and a centralized location for host management controls. Now, this first one has been actually really annoying me all week long because I'm often in a meeting early, or I join it early because I don't want to forget to join late. Doesn't happen too often, but sometimes, I want to get there early. And
I'm the same way.
I'll go walk away, make some coffee, and then I hear this ding, this beep, and I'm like, and today I actually thought it was the person joining. And nope, it was the alert to say you've been sitting idle too long, and they kicked me out of the meeting. And then, of course, when the meeting was starting, I had to go back to the desk and then rejoin. Or, sometimes you're in a collaboration session with someone, they have to leave for a call or some other reason, and then you're the only one sitting there. It's not great. I really wish that you could disable this.
It needs
that
the
first one.
It needs the Netflix feature. You ever watch 5 hours of Netflix in a row, and it judgingly asks you if you're still watching?
No, this is what it is. This is exactly what it is.
No, I know, but
And
if you've done that recently, you'll see that Netflix added a yes and don't ask me again button. That's what this needs. Yes, I'm still here. Stop judging me.
Right.
Sit down. Let me stay on the call. Let me stay and watch my movies, whatever.
Never ask me again that I'm not here.
Yeah.
Let me leave on my own. That is exactly what I need. Yes.
They don't want anybody doing a 56-day Twitch streaming of their lives on Google Meet, apparently.
I mean, after a while, like maybe half an hour.
An hour, sure.
Half an hour, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is prompting you after a few minutes. Yeah.
Too soon. I agree.
Or, what does it say? 5 minutes is what it says. When you're the only person for 5 minutes, you'll receive a prompt. And if you don't respond after 2 minutes, you'll be automatically kicked out of the meeting. So 7 minutes you have of idle time. That is it. It's just not enough. You need at least a half an hour.
I've definitely sat in calls alone, just working, waiting for somebody to come back for longer than that. It hasn't happened in the last week, and I don't think I've seen this feature yet because I usually, more recently, I guess I have not been in this situation, but I definitely agree with you that it needs to be a bit longer. Or give you the option to say, hey, go away.
Yep, either one. And looking at how this is rolling out, it is rolling out for Google Meet on desktop and iOS devices first, and then it will be hitting Android devices soon. And then the second update was around host management controls. So currently host and co-host controls are found in multiple locations. So those will be consolidated into a central location called host controls. and hopefully that one is a little bit better of an update there. I don't really use the host controls too much. I don't think I've used them yet, actually. Maybe once or twice, but that will get a new icon in the lower right. So instead of having that activity icon, I think we're gonna get a new icon just to the right of it. By the looks of things, it looks a little bit like a security padlock icon, that kind of like diamond. I don't know how to describe it. How would you describe that? Shield.
Shield with a padlock in the middle.
Shield with a padlock. That's it. That's the one. Yep. And in terms of rollout pace for this one, similar kind of staggered rollout between the rep release and scheduled release domains. Those rapid release domains, we'll start to see this on the 11th of April. So today, Monday, as we're recording, on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility. And then scheduled release domains, we'll start to see that on an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days, starting on the 18th of April. And it looks like everybody's going to get this one. So keep an eye out for that on your accounts. And that wraps up the updates for this week, folks. That is all.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, yes. I'll talk a little bit more about that. What was it? I'm trying to look here. The notification settings in Docs showing up for some users, and what that looks like a bit. Actually, did I share that screen? I think I shared that screenshot with you, and I forgot to put it in our notes here so I can describe it a bit better. But as I continue to babble on, I will probably be able to pull up the picture from our chat history here and get to that.
Yeah, I think I saw it somewhere.
Pretty.
I saw it when you sent it to me, but I don't have it handy. So.
Yeah. So what you will see is, like I said, in the top right corner, you will see a bell icon, similar to notifications that you see elsewhere, and there will be two sections in there to configure notification settings. One will be for comments, where you can get notified about all new comment activity. You will be the other option is comments for you, where you'll be notified about mentions and threads involving you, or you can say none, and then you won't you won't get notified at all. You just have a badge in the document, but you won't see notifications. And then in terms of edits, so two different options here that you can say added or removed content. So you'll be notified when anyone adds or removes content in this document. Great feature. I was actually on a call last week with Google, and they were talking about some, app script examples of what would be good to, get some people involved or, familiar with app script and writing, business applications in app script. And I said, well, what about a Drive, editor notification application? Because you can't really do that right now. You can only see the documents that you've recently edited, and there's APIs for this. And someone in the meeting said, "Oh yeah, that's actually coming. It's already being launched." And although it's not out yet, I guess this kind of coincided with that comment, which I didn't see this being posted in one of the communities when I made that comment, but it just so happens coincidentally that it's rolling out. And then that second option is none, so you won't be notified about edits that anyone makes in a document. But still being tested. For those people that do have access to it, it sounds like it's still a little bit sporadic and inconsistent in terms of its behavior. So it might be a little while until we see that one, because I don't even think we've seen anything in the visible changes documents around that, or any kind of alpha bundles or anything like that. So it just kind of came out of nowhere in some people's accounts. So, that's why you listen to the podcast, so that you can find out about all these little updates that you don't always hear about from Google directly.
That's why I listen to the podcast.
That's why I do the podcast. I mean, half the time I don't even see the updates myself. Like, as you can see, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah. I talked about also seeing going onto the next topic with GSuite Legacy, that there was a little notification in one of my admin consoles. Finally, it's the first alert or notification or communication that I've had from Google so far about the shutdown of GSuite Legacy, And it's just kind of an offer of 6 months for 50% off. I think we're starting to see some other things popping up in admin consoles. I think you saw some stuff today or yesterday, Jesse. And then there was actually a really good question, on the topic of GSuite Legacy, over in Reddit today that I had just responded to. So with the announcement that Google had around there being a no cost option where you can transition your account to this this new non custom domain, non
Right.
capability to manage users account. Well, is that going to be a brand new account? I don't think it's so. The way they describe it, it sounds like it's going to allow you to move everything over seamlessly, everything that's attached to it, right, in terms of Play Store
Yep.
purchases, etc. So that leads me to that got me thinking, because someone was asking, well, what happens with your like Google underlying Google identity, which means it's like your unique ID with Google.
Mm-hmm.
So your email address within a workspace environment can be changed. You can have a new domain. It can be steve@domain.com and be renamed to steve@something.com, but the underlying unique ID is still the same. And some third-party applications interpret your identity as being the same in that case. So if you are OAuthing into a third-party app, it does really notice a difference. You're still the same identity in the back end to Google and through that
Sure.
authentication. Is that what's going to happen when you change from, at domain.com to at gmail.com with this transition? They haven't really answered that. I didn't remember seeing that in the questions that were answered. So, that, and then, it's not a perfect solution because not every third party app goes, just that way. Some of them actually use your email address. So if they're designed to interpret your email address as a unique identifier when you sign in with this new account, even if you did have the same UID, it would think that you're a different person. So, there are going to be a lot of those challenges that I don't think Google has really addressed with this. And the way to ensure that you do have a seamless transition with that in mind, with those OAuth consents, OAuth authorizations in mind, is you need to upgrade to Workspace, and then you need to add cloud identity to keep your identity exactly the same, UID and email the same, and then go off and create a new consumer account if that's what you want to do and have email over there. Because otherwise you're going to have these challenges that every company that changes their primary domain and changes a user's primary email address has when they do these renames or domain migrations. So, this could be a lot of frustrated customers that if they remain to stay on Google, that they may not have expected these challenges to be, coming to users that are going off of legacy G Suite. So,
Yeah, Google has been frustratingly vague about how all this is going to
yeah,
work. Even in saying that, hey, there's going to be this no cost option. Stay tuned for it. Oh, and by the way, if you already upgraded, yes, there will be a downgrade path, but you have to get in touch with support, and that's all they've said about it. There's no talk of refunds, no talk of the impact of how that's going to work, what features you will or will not be able to access. There's no talk of anything that you just mentioned, where that's going. Some people have theorized that it's just going to prompt you to set up a new Gmail account, and then your unique ID will be attached to that. I saw that in not on Reddit, in a blog somewhere, I forget where. Just people are pulling at strings. We're trying to figure out what the hell's going to happen. It's starting to become even more of a fever pitch as more of these notices go out. As you said, Steve, you just got for the first time a notice email, or no, I got the email you got in the
I
admin panel,
did
right?
not get an email. Yeah, I heard some other people
I
got
got an
emails
email.
recently.
I got
I
the
have
email,
not.
and
I've not.
it was the
I'll have
first
to
thing I
check.
had
I
seen
didn't.
from it.
Yeah, I thought you received yours in the admin console, so I did not check for emails. But um, I could do that now, actually, as we speak.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I got, speaking not just of G Suite Legacy, but of G Suite in general, Tab Geeks is still on G Suite Business. I haven't moved it over yet, mostly because I just couldn't be bothered to. I do this all day long. I haven't really gotten around to it on the Tab Geek side. And a banner popped up in my Gmail yesterday or the day before on top, kind of in the box where you would see ads on a regular Gmail account, and a non-paid account, and it said, you need to switch to Google Workspace, and it was a special offer for 30% off. So that's another interesting incentive that they're doing there to try and get people to move onto Google
Yeah.
Workspace proper.
Yeah. So I did.
Did you get it? You got an email?
I did get the email that you were referring to. Yeah, that came through to me.
Yeah. So it looks like we're. I wonder if
Yeah.
they
So
went like newest to oldest or something.
well, I got
Newest
mine.
being 2012.
I got mine
Like,
April
what's the release
7th.
schedule on
No, no,
these?
it was 4 days ago. I got the email on April 7th. So
Right, right. But a lot of people got them before we did, so I'm just curious, if it's rolling.
yeah, yeah,
What's their metric there? Are they going newest to oldest or
yeah.
alphabetically or
Yeah,
random?
if you are looking for, if you're looking for that email, it is called Action Required Upgrade to Get Started with Google Workspace, and it comes from workspace-no reply at google.com. And top of it just says what you need to know about your subscription and to switch now, and just talks about some of those updates and no cost options, all those kind of things. So has some
Love the
links to the
required.
transition FAQ. Yeah,
I love the wording on that subject, the subject line there. Action
yeah,
required. How to get started.
right.
How to take advantage of something we're forcing you into. But hey, here's how to get started. You should be excited.
Yeah.
Thanks, Google. So yeah, so that's the news around those, and then we have the events in person that we talked about. So C2C is hosting a couple of kind of roadshow style events. One in San Diego on April 26th, one in Irvine on April 27th, and one in Los Angeles on April 28th. And if you are local to the LA area, I will be at both the Irvine and the Los Angeles events. Not because they asked me, simply because I want to get out and I want to network in person and see people in person. And these actually sound like some really interesting events. You've got Miles Ward from SADA is talking at the LA one. He is always a phenomenal speaker. He rocked the house at the Google Cloud launch for Hollywood a couple of years ago and just packed the room. He's always very, very fun. A couple of other people from Google and some other names that I don't recognize, but it's going to be in-person networking. There'll be your usual panel and Q&A and presentations and whatnot, but also a networking reception. So here's back to in-person events. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think specific to Miles, I think you and I actually saw him speak back at Google way back when.
Yeah,
Remember
we talked about this
when
once before. You're right.
yeah, yeah, when team drives were just rolling out. I forget
Yeah.
the woman's name, but Diane, I think, was her first
Yep.
name, or
Yep.
she was talking about
Diane
team.
Green.
No, no,
No,
no, not
no, that was a different Diane.
Shaliff. Shaliff.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, she was talking
Diane
about
Green was the
the
old
team.
director of Cloud.
Right. But yeah, another one. She was talking about the team drives, and Miles was also talking. I think that same day, and we
Well,
saw.
he was at Google at that point, I think.
Oh yeah, I was. It was actually probably his like first or second year there. It was early
Yeah.
days of when he was just joined from moved from AWS. I think
He's
he was talking
phenomenally
about.
accomplished. You can't wait to see the movie about his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he invented the Amazon snowmobile.
Well, I know he has
Massive.
some
He has some
patents and
serious
things like that.
inventions and patents, and he
Yeah.
worked on.
Yeah.
He worked for NASA, and he worked for the Obama campaign, I think, or he worked for the Obama government. I don't remember which it was, but the one that always stuck with me was the problem of movie studios filming on location in 4K or 8K and having petabytes of data that they need to move to the data center. And he's like, shit, I'll just throw a crap load of hard drives in my Prius, drive it out into the desert, load everything up on the drives, drive it back to the data center, plug them in, and they'll be in the cloud. And they developed this box that became a tractor trailer full of petabytes of hard drives that they would literally just park on movie sets, film, load them up, and drive them back. And that is still the fastest way to move
Yeah.
enormous amounts of data.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty cool story. And he's got a lot more stories like that. So if you're in the Irvine or Los Angeles area, come on out. I should come up with the shirt I'll be wearing so that people can find me. I should wear my.
Well,
I need some Workspace Recap swag. Is what I really need.
We gotta make some.
Got to get on
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Not in time for this event, I don't think. Yikes. 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, I think it technically
Maybe.
could be possible, but
Maybe.
unlikely. But speaking of other in-person events, I am actually going to be hosting an in-person meetup tomorrow. In fact, here in Chicago.
Woohoo.
So it will
Should have
be.
promoted it earlier.
Well, yeah, I should have. It's a little. It's starting off slow. We'll probably be hosting it on a monthly basis. So if you are in Chicago and you're interested in any kind of meetups or in the kind of Midwest area, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan kind of area near Chicago, then the first event, well, not the first event, well, the first event that I'm co-hosting, this is along with Jump Cloud. It's kind of an IT admin community that Jump Cloud is getting off the ground here in Chicago. We will have our first meetup at the Merchandise Mart in the 1871 space tomorrow evening from 5:30 to 7:30. Some food and drinks and just a general networking event this time around. But for those of you that are familiar with, let's say maybe the Mac admins, meetups, I did some of those in London where you would have 3 or 4 speakers from various different companies talking on some IT topic. That might be where they start to evolve this group and these events. But stay tuned, and if you are on Mac admins, that is kind of where it gets discussed a lot. So join Mac admins and head over to the Great Lakes channel. That is where all the Chicago land area people hang out in. And if you're not there, then the event is on Meetup, and I think it's called like Jump Cloud IT Admin Meetup, something like that. So we'll share links so you can find that maybe next time, and feel free to join us here in Chicago for that next month.
Now you're making me want to start getting back into doing events out in LA, hosting on my own, and maybe a conference. Maybe we'll do a conference this year. What do you think?
I mean,
October.
You know what? Maybe I was going to say maybe something around October, but
Like when,
maybe on the days in which you can actually make it.
Yeah, right. I'm not planning a conference during a Jewish holiday. That's for sure not. It takes a lot to run one of those shows, and I'm not doing it when it's also a holiday.
Is the weekend holiday still like the 14th and 15th?
I don't know what days those are. I don't have a calendar in my
Sunday.
head like you do.
Like after.
Well, I can't
after
do anything
next.
on Saturday, the 7th. So.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I
Maybe-
usually
what if you,
we'll do like a weeknight
What if you
event.
left on Friday in one country, but then like flew to Australia where it was already Sunday and just skipped Saturday altogether?
There are special rules for that.
Oh,
There are people who specifically fly, not always on purpose, but fly over the international date line when it's a big fast day so that you don't have to fast, because you fast for like 12 minutes if you time your flight just right.
See? I knew people would be thinking about that.
Always.
Not the only one.
Well, what happens when you go to space?
Yeah.
Time is all weird right now.
What time is it there early? Yeah.
Depends where you are. Depends how fast you're going around the Earth. Nah, I think you kind of just pick a time and stick with it. I think that's the ruling around that. But I don't need to know that rule for many years until I'm ready to embark on my space flight. Eventually. My wife's like, no way in hell, but I'll go eventually. No, I do want to get back to hosting events, and I do want to get back to throwing Tab Geeks conferences. We lost a lot of money and a lot of traction thanks to COVID, and so coming back from that is going to be difficult, to say the least. And I've been focusing on doing the content side so that we can continue building up the audience, building up our cache of content and speakers and whatnot. So, all of that funnels well into doing an event. So I certainly am entertaining the idea, and, maybe, if not, then probably in early 2023. We do like to do February time conferences because the weather out here in Southern California is still rather nice, not too hot, but certainly not the 30 degrees that it is on the East Coast. So all the East Coast people like to come out here and have lunch by the bay outside where it's beautiful, 60 degrees or whatnot, 70 degrees. So maybe. I'm thinking about it.
All right. Well, we have 2 questions from our listeners. I believe they came from the audience somewhere. No,
Yep.
I think you saw where they came from, either
YouTube.
YouTube, right? Okay.
YouTube, and one from our blog, actually, our blog post talking about what to do about G Suite Legacy shutdown.
Okay. So the first one was how is Cloud Identity a good replacement if it doesn't have full drive access? And what drive access does it have? Well, yeah, right. Yeah, it doesn't have full drive access per se, because you cannot be an editor, I believe. I'm trying to think about this. Well, it depends. There are some caveats to it. So within your own Workspace tenant, a cloud identity user cannot be an editor in a shared drive. They can be an editor to their own files that they own. There is, of course, limited drive storage capacity, which is 15 gigs, but legacy free customers should be pretty familiar with that, because that's what you have now. And I believe, though, as a user in another environment, so if you're being invited to a shared drive somewhere else from another tenant, then I believe you could be more than just a viewer in that scenario. But only within your own tenant can you be a viewer on shared drives. So drive access, there is a pretty decent level of drive access available for Cloud Identity users. Now, where there's not any kind of access, of course, is in Gmail and Calendar and also Chat. So those 3 core applications, you don't get any functionality from directly. Now, there are ways around some of the email situations there. So a couple things you could do. Your identity could just be kind of temporary in a sense. So you might I'm trying to explain this in a good way here. So your email cannot receive emails, so you would have to receive them in a different way. And there's 2 ways to do that. One is you can set up routing rules and content compliance rules, and say send this email somewhere else, and you can send that email somewhere else to be a Gmail address, for example. So you might be able to receive it over there. The other thing you could do is you could forward that email to a group, and a group could be within your tenant. So you could have user at domain as your login, and then you can have receive at domain.com as the group, and the group can receive those emails, and then you can send out as whatever that group is. So it's a little convoluted. It's not perfect. Ultimately, if you want things to work the same way, you got to pay for the license. But there are weird tricks and ways around some of these things if you really want to do it. And leveraging groups is one way, and then also leveraging routing rules is another way. So that's how you solve that. Of course, calendar, no way around the calendar situation, especially within Google environments. You really just need to have an account that has calendar access. And then the same thing with chat. You just need to have an account that has that if you want to use either of those 2 services. So, get you most of the way there, but not all the way there from that regard. I don't know, Jesse, anything to add on that one?
What about paid purchases in terms of YouTube or apps that you bought in the App Store, things like that?
Yeah, all those things should still remain on that account. I don't, those are not tied to core Google services. So anything third party, either additional Google services or third party services, third party applications, would remain unaffected by that. Yeah.
Cool.
And then kind of leading in, or extending on that topic of cloud identity, the next question was, do we know somewhere that lists the comparison of features from GSuite Legacy to Workspace? And not as of yet. So there is a comparison document that Brian Kim had created, and I just started adding in the cloud identity features and functionality to it. I think I might have talked about this in a previous episode, but
Yep.
it's coming along a little slower than I thought. The legacy domain features is not on there yet, but that is probably something that we can look at adding onto that sheet so that you can compare those and see. It's it's pretty much. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's a fair amount of difference between legacy and just business starter in terms of settings that you will have access to. It's a little. It's going to be a little bit tricky to probably explain which settings that you get access to. I'm just trying to think. It's going to be. I was trying to map out all the settings in the admin console at one point, so I do have that list started. It might just be worth adding a column to say, what is the minimum tier that this setting is available on. So
there you go. That's a good idea.
Maybe I could just add to that, add to that sheet and that data that I have already in the settings. I think it's called the Google Admin Settings sheet or something like that. It's all in the Notes from the Field document, all over in Workspace Admins. So if you haven't added yourself to the Google group, that gives you access to all of the content that's been created over the last 7 or 8 years or so. A lot of the Notes from the Field documents, all those kind of things and more are there. We will link to the group that you can join that will automatically add you to the share drive that has all of that content for you available.
Awesome. Well, folks, remember, tomorrow, 10 a.m., join us for our Google Chrome and Google Managed Browser
I think it's more
updates.
of we hope you enjoy.
Oh, that's right. We hope you already did join us. Yeah. I've been promoting mode for like the last 2 weeks here, trying to make sure that everybody shows up. But if you weren't there, go and check it out. It's going to be on YouTube, or it is on YouTube. It's this weird time paradox thing going on here in my head. Chrome browser and Managed Browser quarterly update live show. That's going to be with Alex Bauer from Google, who is just a total Chrome rock star. You may recognize him from episode 10, was it?
10. Episode 10.
Episode 10. So,
yeah.
Season 2, episode 10. Which honestly could have been like a 3-hour episode.
It was 3 hours.
Stop ourselves.
It was 3 hours with the three of us.
It was for us. Yeah. For us, it was 3 hours. It could have been 3 hours broadcast as well. So tomorrow probably will be an hour, but no. Well, today for the people who are listening.
It'll be an hour for me. I've got to shoot off to the White Sox home opener, so I've got an hour.
Okay, sure. So. I see where your priorities are.
I triple booked myself. I have that, and then I have the meetup at 5:30, so I've got to do the live.
Oh man!
Head to the game for tailgating, and then back to the office for the.
Who are they playing?
I have no idea. I'm just drinking.
That's a solid endeavor. Go for the drinks.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy, and should be a good show. Definitely. Looks like we're already going to have probably. Minimum 60, 70 people there from our RSVPs. So, add in all of the people that pop in from YouTube and probably another 100 people there. It should be a really good show. And I think that's it. So that's all for this week. Send us your questions and comments on Twitter, Workspace Recap, and our website, workspacerecap.com. Also, head over to the website because, like we mentioned here, there's a bunch of blog posts and things that we're putting out over there. I really got to put together a blog post of like top things for top admin hacks for Workspace and have all of the Notes from the Field stuff in there that Steve was just talking about and things like that. So we'll put that together and make that available for everyone to easily reference and send to their friends and send to your friends. Hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening on or watching on if you haven't already. Leave us a review if you could, or hit like on the YouTube video, drop a comment, etc. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Workspace Recap.